Hello, hello.
Hi,
Who is here?
Allison Isaac.
Hi, Allison. How are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
Good. Everything going well? Let's see.
Yeah, it's going well. I'm trying to start on my I'm now working on like the part two of the final exam.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm trying to start on that because that's a little bit. It's quite a
It is.
bit.
It's quite a bit to be writing. Let me go ahead and I'm going to get up. Okay. All right. Can you see my screen now?
Is it okay? I'm actually driving. Is that
Ah,
okay?
yes, that's absolutely fine. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and just put the screen up here for anybody who may come in and listen to the archive. So that's just fine. This is our last chat together. Hopefully, listening to the ones that I pre recorded wasn't too much of a hassle. I see a lot of people seem to go in and listen to them. So that was great. And now here we are. Fast forwarded into the last week of the term. Crazy how fast 5 weeks goes, huh?
I know it's crazy.
Yeah. But here we are, and two discussion boards, and then a two-part final exam. So the first discussion board is identify and describe important barriers to communication, and why should we focus on such barriers. And I see that you and Jenny have already posted your main post for that. Basically, we want you to think about why communication and management is, or why barriers to communication and management is a bad thing. And probably the main reason is because communication that stops flowing between employers and employees usually ends up in not such a good situation. When employers don't give employees the information that they need, they feel like they are being cut out, being left out, and that they don't know what's going on. And most people, kids and adults, don't enjoy feeling like they have no control and no say in what's going on. So barriers to communication can be things like fear. Barriers to communication can be one party feeling that they're superior to the other party. Barriers to communication can be that people are too shy to ask something, afraid that, well, gee, if I ask that question, they're going to think I don't know something, and that's not a good thing. It can just be out of laziness. Sometimes people will say, well, ignorance is bliss. And believe me, there have been times in my life when I think that might have been true, but not necessarily when it comes to working and communicating with coworkers and with the people you are quote unquote working with and working for. So that shouldn't be too bad of a discussion question for anybody. And then the second discussion question has to do with, hold on, I'm pulling it up here. Discuss the purpose of control in organizations, identifying what should or may be controlled. I see Jenny has put a post up to that. What do you think about that, Allison? What do you think we should try to control inside of corporations and organizations? Any ideas of the things that maybe we should be controlling?
All right, there we go.
There we
There
go.
we are.
Ah,
Okay, when I think of control, yeah, I muted you because I
that's
didn't
right.
want to interrupt
Oh, no, it's
or
fine.
make any sounds. So when I think of control, I'm thinking of, I hope I'm on the right page here, but I think of like micromanagement.
Yes.
A lot of my teammates, colleagues, they really have this. They're just they get so uptight whenever our manager is in the office. You know, going over things with us, and they're like, I can't do micromanaging. But to me, sometimes, I mean, it's really what we need in order to make sure that everything is, that we're meeting our goals, that we're functioning. I don't really consider this manager we have right now. I don't think she's a micromanager. I think she does well with, for giving us the material that we need, making sure that we have all the tools to do our job.
Okay.
But
Well, that's
I
a
know
good
that
thing.
we need it.
Well, that's a good thing, and so I think you've hit on some good points here. Is that sometimes processes and administrative issues do need to be controlled so that people stay on track, right? There's this old idea of, anarchy and creativity and everybody doing their own thing can be good in some situations when you're brainstorming or if you're trying to look for new ways of doing things. But when it comes to processes and meeting deadlines, like time deadlines and budgetary deadlines, and budgetary constraints, I think that those types of things do have to be controlled, and there has to be someone who is looking out for how we control things effectively. I think when it crosses over into the micromanaging, that's when people get upset. Most adults that I know don't need to be micromanaged. I've always told everyone when I managed people, I said, look, I'm going to treat you all as adults until you prove to me that you can't be treated like an adult. If you consistently can't do the right thing or won't do the right thing, then, I'll happily tell you what needs to be done. But if not, then, I'm going to give you the parameters and ask that you work within them. And so I think, if we control the parameters within which people can then feel like they still have ownership of their job and have some ability to be creative and do things maybe with their own flair, I think that to me is a good type of control.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. All right. So now, those are just quickly a little bit about the 2 discussion questions. And then, of course, you've got this 2-part exam, and you've already seen part 1. Part 1 is more of an objective type of test where you have to answer questions and, there's a right answer and there's a wrong answer. Then when you get to part 2 of the exam, what you will find is that there are 10 short essay questions, and they ask you to make sure that you're hitting at least 150 words for each one of the answers. They also ask that you are citing sources of research. So remember, if you're going out and you're doing research or you're pulling things from the book or you're just, pulling things from your own personal references, make sure that you cite those references at the end of those small essays. Now, you don't have to give me 500 words per essay. Some people are like, oh, well, I think 150 isn't very much. And there are going to be some of those questions that you like more than others. That's just the way things usually go, right? And so the questions that you like more, you're probably going to elaborate on a little bit more. And the questions that you don't particularly like so much, you may not elaborate on as much. But make sure that you're hitting that 150. And I think when you look at the topics, it really shouldn't take much to be able to get to that 150. Now, you have to submit the exam by the last day of class. As it says, your answers will be checked for plagiarism. So that means you need to be watching, citing your sources, proofread, watch for grammatical and spelling errors. Now, there are 10 different questions. The first one says, discuss management's preoccupation with effectiveness and efficiency. What's the importance of effectiveness and efficiency to the scientific managers, the bureaucrats, the system contingency theorists, and contemporary managers? So you should be talking about how effectiveness and efficiency is seen differently by those different types of managers. Number 2, discuss the purpose of control in organizations. What should or may be controlled? Guess what? That ought to be a pretty easy one because that's coming directly from one of your discussion questions for this week. Number 3, explain why sex discrimination remains a significant business problem despite management efforts to overcome it. What are your thoughts on that? Compare and contrast content and process theories of motivation. Again, this goes right back to something that we covered a couple of weeks ago, so that one shouldn't be all that hard for you to pull from. Can a person be both a leader and a manager at the same time? That's more of an opinion question, but it goes back to things that we talked about in the first couple weeks. We said, what makes an effective leader? What makes a leader that you would like to follow? Then evaluate the role of power in leadership theory. What are several different types of power? Evaluate them and talk about how they are perceived by people who are following them. Distinguish between national and organizational culture while considering the relationship between the two. That's not something that we specifically talked about in a discussion board or in an assignment, but between your textbook and having the internet to do your research, you should have no problem finding that kind of information. List and describe typical stages of decision making. When it comes to the rational decision-making approach, what are the different steps that a rational decision maker goes through? What are the essential differences between motivators and hygiene factors in Herzberg's theory behind motivation? Again, we didn't particularly have a question on that, but Herzberg's theory of motivation is very easy to look up, and you can do some extra reading on it if you haven't already. And then the last one says list the main features of bureaucracy, and that does go back to something that we looked at. I believe it was way back in week number 1. So those are 10 questions that are going to take you a little bit of time to get through. So my suggestion would be that you don't wait until Sunday afternoon to be working on them, that you try to, bite them off a little bit at a time. Maybe go in and do 1 or 2 a day between now and Sunday. Today's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. If you did 2 a day, you would have them all done by the end of Sunday, and you wouldn't feel like, you were run over by a freight train. Any questions about those, Allison? Anything in there seem like it's just totally off base and doesn't make sense with all the things we've been talking about this term?
No, I don't have any questions. The first one seemed a little bit hard. I think I just need to maybe just do a little more research so that I can clarify a little bit, some of that a little bit more.
That one has 3 questions embedded into one.
Yeah. I actually skipped that one and went straight to 3.
What's the preoccupation with effectiveness and efficiency? Well, I think you can come at this from a few different angles. I think, you can use the economic downturn of 2008 as a good example of why companies have become really preoccupied with effectiveness and efficiency, because we've had a real downturn in the number of employees. Lots of companies had to lay many people off, and the mantra was do more with less. I think, people who didn't lose their jobs during those economic downturns got sick of hearing that. Okay, well, the company needs to do more with less, which means there are fewer of you, but you're going to have to do more work than you've ever done before. So effectiveness and efficiency, they boil down to money. They boil down to competitiveness. And in a downturn economy, you have to be careful, because the companies that aren't competitive will get, they'll get thrown off the island, so to speak, because they just won't be able to survive. So becoming a lean, mean fighting machine is something that is important. So how does that become important to people who are bureaucratic type of managers, or system contingency theorists, and contemporary managers, and which of the concept features greatest in their theory? So yeah, I would agree that that's probably the one that's going to take the most time to think about and maybe do some research. But anything else that is a question for you or a concern as we start wrapping up the term?
I do apologize. I'm at Meet the Teacher.
No.
We haven't gotten started yet, so I had my phone muted and my phone time's up. I have to log back in. Really, is the quiz, the multiple choice in true and false section, is it based on the chapters that we were needing to read, chapters 25 to 30?
Yeah.
Or is it comprehensive?
Well, it's comprehensive, but I think it's going to be stuff that makes sense to you. And again, what I tell people, I say, when you open that up, and you're looking at it, have your book nearby. And if you need to scroll to something in the index of the book and look it up quickly because it's not something that you remember, or open up another window on your computer and do a quick Google search on the topic. And usually if you do something like that, it'll kind of jolt your memory and you go, okay, now I remember what that is, and you're able to answer the question pretty readily.
Okay, so it's comprehensive. Okay.
And now you get to meet the teacher.
Yes, meet the third grade teacher.
Lovely. That sounds like a lot of fun. It is that season, isn't it? Yeah. It's when did they go back to school?
We start back Monday. We're going back Monday.
Oh, you're going back Monday. Okay. Well, here in Southwest Missouri, they went back a week ago. It'll be a week ago tomorrow. And my niece went back in Little Rock, Arkansas. She went back on Monday. So back early. Yeah. All right. Okay. Well, then I'm going to go ahead and let you go if you don't have any other questions. I appreciate all the hard work that everybody put in this term. What do you think about these little meetings that we have? Do you think they're helpful?
Absolutely. I was able to do my the discussion posts were really, you gave a little more information and examples than what I received from the book, especially with the last discussion post, the one where you actually recorded it. That was so helpful. I was able to really get a lot. It helped me on the discussion questions that you gave us.
Okay, good.
Yeah, it was very helpful.
Good, because this is something new that, the school has done different things with live chats and with meetings and things in the past, and they had gotten away from it for a while, and they just instituted it again this term. So it's interesting for me to hear what people have thought about the process and whether or not it's been helpful. So I'm glad to hear that it's been helpful. And everything just needs to be submitted by Sunday. For any of you who listen to this in the archived chat and you are behind, Sunday is the last day to get your final work in, because Monday morning, bright and early, I will be doing final grading. I went back this past weekend and jumped into some late work that had come in and got a lot of those things posted. So hopefully everyone will have a strong finish to the term. It's been a pleasure having all of you in class, and who knows, I might see you again in another class down the road.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey, how you doing, Miss Holly?
Good. How are you?
Sorry for the delayed response. Thank you. Thank you, Professor.
Get in there.
Okay. Who's this? Who just jumped in?
Jatoy.
It is who?
Jatoy.
Okay. Hey, Jatoy, how are you feeling?
Not too good. But I didn't want to miss class.
Well, hopefully you are going to be feeling better soon. Allison's here as well, and we just went over some of the items for the final exam. We just talked about the 10 essay questions. And so this will be recorded. I'm going to hang up here, and it takes a few moments for it to record, and then I have to turn it into a YouTube and post it so you can go back and listen. But basically I was saying that, everything is due by Sunday, and just because we're done with our discussions doesn't mean that you guys can't reach out to me in the next couple of days if you need some help with the, with the final exam or any of the questions, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all right. Well, Jatoy, I hope that you are on the mend here soon, and that they get everything figured out and get you the right medicine or procedures or whatever you need so that you are back to 100% soon.
I pray so. It's been a rough past few days for me.
Yep.
I'm just trying to get better.
Okay, well, good. So you rest. The good news is we'll be done in a couple of days. Then you'll have a little bit of a break. You can rest and take a deep breath, and then get ready for the next term. So Allison and Jatoy, any questions that you had, Jatoy, before I let you go? Anything in particular for this last week?
Not really. I did not have a few assignments that I had to catch up on from last week.
Okay. Well, go ahead and put those in. I went back and did some late grading, so some of the late grades are in there. And so you can go in and take a look and see. The only thing that can't be made up are quizzes. Once those end for the week, those are done. And those can't be reopened, but everything else can still be worked on. Okay?
Well, that's it. I'm pretty good.
All right. Excellent. All right, ladies. Well, like I said, have a strong finish to the term. Have a healthy break, and good luck with classes next term. And maybe I will see one or both of you in another class down the road.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay, take care. Allison, take care.
Thank you. You too. Thanks, Professor.
Okay, bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye. Bye.